my hand away, little mouse. So be it. You've chosen to side with chaos. This is my will, and you shall obey my order.
Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Xantho here, and today I'm coming at you with kind of a mini build guide for my Arakaali's Fang Raised Spider's Juggernaut. This is using some familiar tech. If you've seen Zizrain's recent video about Eternal Damnation and Lore Weave, I was patting myself on the back, but I've been using this combo actually longer than Ziz has. Not to say I invented the combo, but I'm just saying it's not like I stole it from Ziz or anything. But basically the idea of this build is becoming really tanky, having solid life regen, and being able to do uber bosses just really, really easy. Except Exarch. I don't know why, I always struggle with Exarch, especially at the ball phase. I seem to not be able to dodge the ball phase very well. Mostly because I'm a low skill player. And I overgear and overcompensate with my characters to be able to do in-game content. So hey, if that sounds like you, this might be the build for you. You'll be able to do most of the Ubers, other than maybe Exarch, maybe with a death or two on Exarch. But everything else should be done deathlessly, no problem. So the core of this build is Arakaali's Fang, which is 100% chance to trigger level 1 raised spiders on kill. Sure you know of this already, but basically raised spiders, what it does is it raises 2 spectral spiders from each nearby corpse that will attack your enemies with Viper Strike. Each raised spider grants attack speed, blah 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 blah, and they're immune to damage. Enemies will not target the spiders, and they're immune to damage, which is nice. And they last 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So from each nearby corpse, so you need corpses to be able to spawn the spiders, and then you need to kill wall nearby those corpses. So we have Desecrate, so you cast Desecrate twice to get 10 corpses, and then we use something like Divine Ire because it constantly hits in a large area around us, and then you use something like you use Writhing Jar. Now we have 18 spiders. We didn't get 20 for some reason, even though we had 10 corpses. It didn't explode those corpses for some reason, but regardless, you can just do it again. Now we have 20. And Writhing Jar will recover because we're using Soul for Slotha, which gives life flask charges every 3 seconds if you haven't used a life flask recently. Which is nice. Because we don't have to use our life flask very often because we are incredibly tanky. So we're using the combination of Arakaali's Fang and Squire. Squire being that the support gems in here get linked to your main hand weapon, which works with Arakaali's Fang for some reason. Even though it's not a gem, it's a skill given by a weapon. But let's just run through the build. So I got Arakaali's Fang, got Squire, got an Ancient Skull with 90% Reservation, Molt, Corrupt, and Malevolence Reservation Efficiency. This isn't needed. You can just get Malevolence Reservation Efficiency, or Determination Reservation Efficiency, or Grace Reservation Efficiency. Then you can simply use a lower level of Precision. Or you can use an Enlighten 4 if you're going for a higher budget. I'm just using Enlighten 3 because Precision 11 is good enough for me. I could get Precision 20 if I used an Enlighten 4 here. But the damage is good enough for me. I'm dealing about, I think, 12.5 million Uber DPS, which equates to like 40 to 45 million pinnacle DPS, except you'll hit the dot cap, which is like 35.7 million, 35.6 million. Damage over time effects, the cumulative damage of damage over time effects only deal 35.6 million damage to any given target. So, but for Ubers, they take 70% less damage, which means you can over poison DPS on Pinnacles, on Guardians and Pinnacles, so that you'll be able to do more damage to Ubers. So I'm doing like 12.5 million Uber DPS, which is pretty solid. Ubers don't last too long, as long as the poison ramps up. So back to the build. I'm using Ancient Skull. Gives minions reduced maximum life, which doesn't matter because they're immune. Movement speed is great for race fighters. 50% increased critical strike chance for maximum power charge you have. So I have 3 maximum power charges, so it's 150% increased critical strike chance. And minions can hear the whispers for 5 seconds after they deal a critical strike. And minions which hear the whispers take 20% of their maximum life as chaos damage per second, have 50% increased attack speed and damage, and they do not listen to you. So that doesn't really matter because they have really good targeting anyway, so not listening to you doesn't matter. If you're using something like Predator support, it doesn't really matter. So they 50% increase attack speed and damage, which is just a lot of damage. And they take 20% of their maximum life as chaos damage per second, which doesn't matter because they're immune to damage. So this is basically just a pure damage helm. It's fantastic. It has a solid amount of armor, solid amount of ES. ES doesn't really matter much, but it's got a solid amount of armor. Squire, of course. We all know about Squire. I just have some spell suppress gloves with lighting chaos res and crafted life and fractured spell suppress. And then Eldritch and Blizzards are just 7% spell suppress on the Eater Worlds and then 90% minion damage on the Exarch. I could go for a greater, except the greater numbers are kind of expensive right now. And I bought an inordinate amount of Shaper sets, about like 230, and I'm down to like, let's see, down to 26, so I've ran a bunch of them. I have a full dump tab of all my Shaper drops that I might show in a future video. I'm kind of doing an experiment to see how profitable Shaper is. And the results so far are pretty good. Uber Shaper, that is, of course. Because you're getting Sublime Visions and Orbs of Dominance. I mean, you already get Orbs of Dominance from Shaper, but Uber Shaper has a 100% increased chance to drop Orb of Dominance. So, Eternal Damnation makes elemental damage reduction equal to half your chaos resistance. So my chaos resistance is 78 due to Lord Weave. And it cannot be lowered or raised, so it's just 78% max. Cannot be raised below 78% with like minus max map mods or curses or anything. Can't be lowered below 78%. Your actual res can be lowered below 78% by curses. But we also have 5 endurance charges, which are giving us 4% each. So it's like we're at like 104, 103, and then like 110. So that's good enough. Ring. Or it was just great. You know, attributes, life, maximum res. But Eternal Damnation is fantastic because this gives 39% reduced elemental damage taken. Elemental damage reduction, basically. Which applies to both hits and damage over time, which is cool because it's just elemental damage reduction. And not damage reduction from hits. My ring is just intelligence, life res, and mana cost. I needed a solid bit of intelligence. I only need 159, but I'm 20 over. But regardless, I don't really feel like upgrading the ring right now. And then I have a 41% fractured minion damage ring, bone ring, which I have T1 life, minion movement speed, and I just multi-modded it with non-channeling mana cost and fire and cold res because I needed fire and cold res. And then I qualified it to 20 with fertile catalyst, so it's pretty good. I already talked about the gloves. Belt is just life, mana, fire res, chaos res, and some res. Pretty basic belt. I got Amanamu's Gaze for attributes and damage over time multiplier for ghastly eye dual affecting you up to its maximum 30%. So I only have like 3, I think. I got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got 3. And then 4, including the Ama Namu's Gaze. So we're getting 24% damage over time multiplier, which is 1 shy of the cap. So boots are the Stampede. I was originally doing a Cyclone Castle Channeling setup, and then I found it's just less efficient, and I didn't have the mana sustain to be able to do it. So basically just Stampede, because I needed the extra reservation efficiency, so I needed an extra anoint slot, so you can anoint these because they're blight unique. So I anointed Charisma for the reservation efficiency. And then I got a Corrupt with 8% spell suppress because I needed that spell suppress to be able to hit 100%, which is really nice to be able to hit 100% spell suppress on Juggernaut. And my gems and jewels. Let's go over my my gems. So I got Awakened Minion damage, Awakened Deadly Elements, Withering Touch. This applies Wither. By the way, I see this all the time, and it's just completely wrong. I see Anoint Corruption for increased effect of Withered. This does nothing if the Wither is sourced by your minions. This only affects you. Your minions don't have your skill tree. Your minions do not have your skill tree. So increased effect of Withered does not apply to your minions' withers. So if you see anybody with Corruption anointed, tell them they're doing something wrong and to get a different, better anoint. So Withering Touch to get Wither. Then I got Awakened Unbound Elements to bridge a multi-strike. I could get Awakened multi-strike, but I found like for clearing the extra repeat, it's kind of slowed them down too much. So I just went with Divergent multi-strike. I also don't have enough divines for Awakened multi-strike right now, but I could if I sold off all my dump drops from my Shaper stuff that I'm compiling. I have an absolutely ungodly number of Fragment of Shape and Knowledge. So, and then Awakened Melee Physical Damage, which I swap in for Awakened Melee Splash when I'm clearing maps, and then just Awakened Melee Physical for big bosses. Because map bosses you can do Melee Splash because they don't need much damage. Divergent Malevolence, Enlighten, Determination, Embrace. Arcanist Brand, level 1, 23 Coal. Temporal Chains, 2020. Life Tap, Enhance 4. Anomalous Despair. And then Divine Ire. Here I got Life Tap, 2120 Molten Shell, 2020 Flame Dash, 2020 Divergent Flesh Offering for additional attack speed. Here I got 21 Vitality, level 3 Enlighten, Desecrate, and level 11 Precision because the race spiders do not have that much accuracy on their own, so you kind of need to raise their accuracy rating, which I have on most of my jewels here. I have accuracy rating, I don't have one on that one, but I have accuracy rating here, accuracy rating here, and then of course accuracy rating for precision. And then my flask setup is just a cautious divine life flask of healing. More recovery if used on low life, just as basically as a preventative measure. If your life gets low, you can tap it and it'll give you basically to full very quickly. Writhing Jar so I can actually spawn my spiders. Flagellant's Quartz Flask with the Armadillo. So 3 charges when you hit by an enemy and increased armor ring effect. This is not actually for spell suppress, I'm capped without it. I am got 100% spell suppress even without where is it? Quartz Flask. But the phasing is really nice for mapping, and in general phasing is just good. Basalt Flask. You could use a Granite Flask, but I found Basalt actually gives me more armor because I have a lot of base armor. Increased evasion rating during effect because I do have evasion rating from Grace. And then that gets turned into armor via Iron Reflexes. And then a Jade Flask of the Owl, which is basically just T1 reduced effect cursing during effect. Another Flagellants. These are all Flagellants flasks for gaining charges hit by an enemy, and they just have them all and use when charges reach full. So they automatically go off when I get hit, basically. Enough times, which means, you know, they're going to be full. I get hit a bunch, they go off. I get hit a bunch of times, they go off. Let's go over the passive tree real quick. Basically, I path down here, up over here, got a jewel slot here. I have Sanctum of Thought and Faith and Steel with energized armor, which transforms energy shield and radius into armor. So this used to be 8% armor, 5% ES, and 50% armor, 10% ES. And then this used to be like 18%, 12%, and it's 200% too, so it doubles the effectiveness of the ES to armor. So you end up with like 18, 20, 42, 18, and 35% increased armor, which is a bunch. Like my armor goes up a solid bit by using this jewel. So let's Flask up 110,000, 135,000. And then once I use Molten Shell, it goes up to like 142-ish, I think. I have Molten Shell left click and life tap, so I can just continually use it.
I cannot do this yet.
So, and then I went up here, grabbed all the reservation efficiency, effective auras on you, picked up this for a little bit of chaos, res, and life. I have a large cluster here. These need to be I-84 to roll. I-84, 12 passive, minion, damage, cluster jewel. You want to roll them with 35% increased effect and 3% increased attack and cast speed for minions. And then you want to cap your chaos and elemental resistance. So here I have this one I rolled myself and then fractured, managed to hit the fracture. You want to roll both 35% increased effect and 3% attack and cast speed at the same time. And then fracture. I'll give you a 50-50 instead of a 1 in 4 chance. I mean, it kind of hurts to spend all the chaos spamming to get that. It'll save you money in the long run because divines are, you know, like 250 C. And if fracturing orbs 5 divines, so that'd be 1250 chaos, and you will probably be able to get both of these in less than 1250 chaos. Which means the 50-50 is going to save you money in the long run. Alright, I forgot my recording software freaks out when I use Awaken PoE trade while running it, so there's going to be a splice in the video here. So, passive tree, I have Chaos Res, 35% increased effect, minion attack and cast speed and life. I didn't make one of the, I made this one myself. I did not make this one myself. I bought this one for 30 divines. I just think it's worth it because these are incredibly low chances to roll for Chaos Res, Life, Attack and Cast Speed, and 35% increased effect. Like those are like obscenely low chances to roll all of those. And I needed 5% Chaos Res so I could actually cap my Chaos Res there. So you know this is giving 6 life, 6% Chaos Res, 13% minion damage, and 4% increased attack cast speed for minions. And then I have 2 Indomitable Resolve jewels, which are the Marauder, Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh exclusive jewels that are not found in any of the ascendancies. And they are deal 10% less damage but take 25% less damage. Deal 10% less damage is not an issue because we're using minions, so we're not actually dealing damage ourselves, so it's completely negated. So basically it just means take 25% less damage, which is equivalent to basically 33% more effective HP because you're taking 25%, you're taking 0.75 relative to 1, so it's 33% more effective HP. I have a Storm Shroud over here. Modifiers chance to avoid being shocked by all elemental ailments, which even applies to alt elemental ailments from like Delirium and stuff. You know, Scorch, Brittle, Sap, and Ignited, and Chilled, and Frozen, and Shocked. And I'm able to do this because I have a Elegant Hubris here, which is 22,340 if you want to pick one up yourself, which this one has 240% minion damage, so to 80% here, 80% here, and 80% here. Basically 2 points for each, so basically that's 40% minion damage per point, which I think is definitely worth it. That's insanely good value. And then I'm having to path down here to Ryan Reflexes anyway, So this one is basically just in the path of me pathing down, which is really nice. And then right here I have 80% chance to avoid being shocked, and 8, 12, 16, 20% chance to avoid elemental elements. That's 100% chance to avoid being shocked, which then this means 100% chance to avoid being applied with any elemental elements, which is really nice. Have my other large cluster jewel here, fractured as myself, and rolled it for 35% increased effect and at least 30% elemental resist, so I can cap my elemental resistances. As I said before, with endurance charges, I have higher res. I managed to get 39 evasion on there, which is like T1 evasion, which is really nice, and like almost max rolled. And evasion gets transferred into armor with iron reflexes, so that's just fantastic. So this is basically 52 evasion each one. And 4% elemental res, which is great. And then over here I just have life, of course the elemental avoidance already talked about. Entrench for spell suppress, herbalism with 50 maximum life, jewels, socket, and intuition to cap me on spell suppress, extra evasion rating, which is extra armor, and 5% increased maximum life. And then a spell suppress, well affected by grace, Watcher's Eye. I could get grace plus determination. The dream is grace plus determination, physical damage reduction from well affected by determination. Except those are like 10 divines. I could buy those if I sell off all my shaper drops, but I'm still compiling those for my data set. So basically that's the build so far. Let's go over it in PoB real quick. I have an effective hit pool against Guardian, against Ubers. Against Guardians, I have and Pinnacle bosses, I have an effective hit pool of 627,199. And this is not a BS hit pool. Oh yeah, I also have Mage Bane on a Invocation of Mage Bane on a Sanctified Relic. I was using this on a different character. I got maximum power, maximum frenzy charges. And the poisons you inflict deal damage 7% faster does not apply to minions, so it doesn't matter. But maximum frenzy charges is nice for a lot of builds, so I can just reuse this in other builds. But I put Mage Bane on it, so I can cap out on spell press. So I'm dealing, as you see, I'm dealing like 12.68 million Uber DPS. And I'm way overcapped on Guardians and Pinnacles. And so endurance charges hit recently for the effect of, Lunaris. Even though I think Solaris is better for fighting one enemy. Yeah, for better against Shaper, I think, because breaks against some Shaper Slam is better. But regardless, I generally just use Lunaris because it has reduced elemental damage taken if you've been hit recently, avoid projectiles, and avoid projectiles that have chained. So that's pretty nice. As you see, I don't have really many things ticked here. I'm just intimidated from melee physical damage. Awaken melee physical damage, which doesn't do much because I'm basically poisoned, so this doesn't really do much at all, but I ticked it because it in fact is true. 15 wither stacks, 20 spiders, endurance charges. I've been hit recently, which I pretty much always have because I don't dodge a lot of things because I'm so tanky, and I have iron reflexes, which means I can't evade. So I am very tanky. So let's click here. So if I'm taking 9,860 damage, my hit taken is 295.6, which is ridiculously low. It's very low. If I can go to like Uber Pinnacle, I do like a Shaper Ball or something. Shaper Ball is doing 283 damage to me, which is like nothing. even with the pen and stuff, from 7,908. So it's not doing much damage to me, like at all. I can tank a lot of Shaper Balls, even Shaper Slams. I can tank Shaper Slams no problem, as you saw in the intro video. Because I only take 1,179, and sometimes it's even less than that for some reason. So what went wrong here? Why do I only have 531,000 pay to fit pool? It should be like 600,000. I'm not sure why it's only 531 right now. Whatever. It's basically, come back into here. It's 605,000, and that's not BS because I don't have any like life gain on block or anything. So it's just pure effective hit pool, which is nice. Because block can fail. Block only really works for effective hit pool when you're getting slammed by like a bunch of attacks or spells at once. So it doesn't really help much against one shots, and really doesn't help you against like multiple big ones that your block fails against. So I shouldn't have clarity there, but I will link the POB in the description, and you can check it out if you wish to, and peace.